We are at the Dawson Army Airfield here in snowy Preston County, just outside of Kingwood, and I think we're just going to take it easy today, and the weather outside is frightful. So let's see what it looks like in Preston County and maybe even head on down to Canaan Valley without even having to leave our house. Here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So as we take off from Dawson, let's come up here and check out Kingwood first. And the quaint little town of Kingwood, home of the Buckwheat Festival. Oh, we can see some windmills in the ridges in the very far off distance. That's pretty neat. I believe that's the hospital down there to our right. And we'll be crossing over in Route 26 directly below us there. And with Route 7 directly ahead, if you head to the west, you get to Morgantown in about 15 or 20 minutes, depending on how many limestone trucks are on the road. Or how much snow is on the ground, and if they have bothered to treat it. Let's turn and cruise down Route 7. And say farewell to Kingwood. I believe, yeah, that's probably the high school down there to our left. And start heading south to our ultimate destination today, Canaan Valley, which is one of the most picturesque places in West Virginia, right here in my backyard. Fortunately, the last time I was there, I was working a conference and I was running sound the entire time and didn't really get to enjoy anything other than the foot of snow that was piling down as I was driving up there. But other than that, I generally have a pretty good time there. Used to have family reunions up in Timberline. So we got about 26 nautical miles of mountainous beauty. So let's give it a little bit of throttle and adjust our trim. It's nice having the new flight stick. I have the trim right here on the stick. I can maybe make it not be quite as sensitive, because if you bump it or something, then bad things happen, but works out pretty well. I didn't really realize on my previous stick, just even looking at it would make the rudder or something activate, so I couldn't really fly hands off like I can now. And just make some occasional adjustments here on my trim. And that's why I like this bush plane so much. It gives you very basic fundamentals. You get up in the air, set your throttles, set your trim, and then you're good to go. And then you can move up to the X hub, where then you can have 2 extra knobs, one for the RPM of your propeller and one for your fuel mixture. And you can learn what those do. And then you can move up to even crazier planes and move up to even better planes. It's, you can play Microsoft Flight Simulator the way that you want to play it. Set up the flights the exact way you want to set them up. Put the clouds at the level you want to put the clouds. You can add snow. You can play in VR, you can go into a cockpit view, you can zoom out and look all around. We can pause the game. We can go into developer mode and just explore the map. It is really incredible what you can do. Yeah, so we should be hitting Amblersburg down here in a bit. And we're not VFR flying today. I'm using flight events and ForeFlight in order to navigate. Just have it up on my iPad here in front of me. I was thinking about putting it in the stream. Problem with NDI is things tend to go wonky with my sound, and I just didn't feel like dealing with it today, and we're just having a nice relaxing flight through the snowy hills of West Virginia. And maybe a touch of Maryland over here as our flight path takes us when we cross over Route 50 next, which is still a little bit away. Yeah, we're about to cross over Salt Lick Road. Salt, a very underrated mineral in the colonization of the Americas, because once you get inland, you need salt. I mean, they didn't have refrigeration, so it was very important when they came inland and found salt. That's why down in the Canaan Valley, where they could just make wells and bring up salt brine, managed to grow as quickly as they did. As we check out the ridges. And this is kind of where the Broken Hills meet kind of the Potomac Highland ridges. And we'll go over in that direction. Rollsburg is off in the distance. I don't think we can quite see it, but you see Rollsburg in the Cheat River. And we should be coming up on Route 50 is our next major road we'll be crossing. As we're kind of here at the intersection of West Virginia and Maryland, in the general vicinity of Cathedral State Park, which is a virgin forest. And the hilarious story about it, the sad hilarious story, is that the only reason they didn't cut it down is because they thought it was in Maryland. If you see any pictures of West Virginia from like 100 or so years ago, it's like there are no trees. They literally took them all. Except for Cathedral State Park, because when they were doing the surveying, they thought it was in Maryland, and they were like, oh no, we can't take Maryland's trees. Well, we'll take every tree in West Virginia, leave Maryland's alone. Which is, you know, just a perfect story of the history of West Virginia. First they took the wood, then they took the coal, now they're trying to take the gas. So now we should be crossing over Route 50. We have Aurora over there to our left. Yeah, we're in the general vicinity of the Maryland border now. So we have this one large section of beautiful broken hills until we start to see our ultimate destination. Yeah, let's come on down a little bit into the topography a bit. It is beautiful. And there's a million different ways you can play Microsoft Flight Simulator. You can zoom all the way out, you can zoom all the way in, you can sit in the cockpit, you can do whatever you want. No, that's the wrong way on the trim. That should be good. So we should meet up with 219 here at some point. Ooh, it looks like now we're going to cross a nice line of windmills. Coming down the ridge here. I'm a big fan of windmills in this game and in real life. And yeah, it's so nice with this new flight stick. My old one, I just didn't realize that I could literally just breathe on it and either a rudder would activate or it wouldn't be centered anymore. And now you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the scenery. Let's come check out the windmills up here on this ridge and then see what is beyond it. And I could never decide on the view. That's the nice thing about VR is you really only have one choice. But then you can't do things like take a drink. Very difficult to do that in VR with the headset. And it's kind of it's a different way of thinking of how to shoot. You can't be like looking all around and jiggling the camera around. You just want to make slow, deliberate movements and things like that. So it's the first one where we've taken the headset off in a while. Much like everything on this channel, it just depends on what I'm feeling like doing that day. Today I just want to relax and check out the snowy mountains in non-VR mode. Or normal mode, I suppose. Because this game is great either way. 'cause we don't have much wind today. I actually turned the wind layer off, you know, for the sake of the viewer. You don't want your plane flying all around, and I just want to relax. You can set the flight the way you want to set it. If you want to fly in a blinding snowstorm with wind gusts everywhere, you can. So let's check out the plateau here as we make our final approach into Canaan Valley. Pretty soon we'll be coming up first on Thomas and then on Davis. And then from Davis, we're just going to go and head right on in. And there is an airport, a fly-in resort at Canaan Valley. I think we might just head over Dolly Sods and maybe land in Petersburg. What's our fuel at? 43. Yeah, we got plenty of fuel. I didn't think about that before we took off. All I knew is I wanted to come over here and check out the snowy mountains and have a good time, and I am. This is great. And it's just so beautiful. A nice, relaxing flight. Through the mountains of West Virginia. So, passing between Pierce and William. And we'll be heading into Thomas. Stop off for a nice cool beverage. It's a fun river town. Here on the plateau on the way into the valley. And then, of course, once you get through Thomas, then you head on over to Davis. An equally cool little river town. As we say hello to the quaint town of Davis. Your last stop before you head into the valley. So we're just going to follow Route 32 like you would normally, and see what kind of view we get once we cross into Canaan Valley. And there's a little bridge leaving Davis. We'll just follow 32 here for a little while longer on, you know, it's more or less a plateau. It's not flat, but definitely see the difference in elevation when we enter the valley, which is just ahead of us. We should be entering and clearing Canaan Heights any moment now. We are starting to see some of the edges, some of the majesty that is the valley. Up to the right, I think we can maybe even see some of the ski slopes on the other end as we come to the lip. And we enter Canaan Valley. Wow, that looks awesome in the snow. And we can see the ski slopes up ahead to the right. Let's get our trim set to a nice level so we can look around. And we have entered Canaan Valley. Oh, super nice. Very picturesque. We have the ski slopes over there to our right. This is very much what it looked like the last time I was there, which was running sound at a conference in February at the resort. On the lodge, rather. So there is actually an airport down here in Canaan Valley, the Windwood Fly-In Resort. But I'm just having such a good time, and we got plenty of fuels. So I think what we're going to do is we're just going to come down here and check out some of Canaan Valley. I believe those are the timberline slopes over there. But I've actually never gone skiing. It's one of those things, much like why I've never flown a plane. I don't think either of those things will end well for me. I've done tubing and stuff like that. I like being outdoors. I actually like Canaan Valley a little bit more in the summer when there aren't as many people there. So let us get lost in the majesty. And make a decision about where ultimately we're going. And so I think what we're going to do here at the Timberline Road. I think we're going to cut over the Dolly Sods wildlife management area and head on over and make a landing in Petersburg. Over in Grant County. And we'll see what the Dolly Sods wilderness looks like here. Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just such a fascinating place. It's just like a tundra in the middle of West Virginia. It's just so neat. So as we cruise up and up, we'll actually be leaving the Majesty. That is Canaan Valley, which is a great place to visit if you're looking for somewhere to go, even in the summer. Like lots of hiking and fun stuff like that. If you're not into the skiing, which as a West Virginian I feel like I should be, but I do like sledding. And other kinds of things where I don't feel like I'm gonna fall over and hurt myself severely. So let's see here. I think we got about 11 nautical miles over the Dolly Sods wilderness. Until we hit W99 in Grant County, outside of Petersburg. Which I believe is at the North Fork of the South Branch of the Potomac River. The South Branch of the Potomac River, yeah. The North Fork of the South Branch is in that area. But Petersburg is on the South Branch, and they have a very nice trout hatchery. Used to go fishing with my dad over on the North Fork of the South Branch, and then, you know, over Smoke Hole Caverns Way and all that kind of stuff. In the sea of tranquility that is the Dolly Sods wilderness. Alright, so on the other side of this plateau, we'll enter back into the ridges. Because as majestic as Canaan Valley is, just about every valley in between the Broken Mountains here. Naturally, I live in the Broken Hills over in Montague County. And then when you go over to the east, these are the Broken Mountains, where, you know, it's just the topography, they were more squished together, the rock formations. And it's just, when you look at maps, you can just definitely see that line down the Appalachians of, you know, where you kind of go from the Broken Hills to the ridges and valleys. in Corridor H, if you ever happen to drive down that, it's just going from one beautiful valley to the next beautiful valley. And not many people live out there, so it's all very, you know, just picturesque. The wilderness. If you wanted to live out here, you can, but you might not be able to get internet. And just so gorgeous over in this part of the state. And just reasonably inaccessible. There just aren't very many roads that go anywhere around through here. So I think we have one more ridge to cross before we have to think about getting down and landing at W99 in Grant County. So let's just bring our trim down a bit and start thinking about how we're going to go about doing that. I think we have this ridge in front of us and then the next ridge as we just now follow the south branch of the Potomac River. As I'm more familiar with the North Fork of the South Branch. That's where we did more fishing. Oh yeah, dude, yeah, are we coming up on cabins, which as you might imagine is a lot of cabins. And that is the North Fork of the South Branch here, cabins, and then that runs right into the South Branch. So, yeah, very cool. Interesting to see it from above. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so there's the North Fork of the South Branch that then runs into the South Branch. Off into the distance. Very neat. It's just, it's cool to see places you've been, only from, you know, totally, completely different perspective. Especially in West Virginia, where you're going up, down, left, right. You never know if you're facing north, south, east, west by the time you actually get where you have to go. The directions are, all right, then you see that tree, and it looks like the road turns to the right, but it really doesn't. Keep going straight on it. And things like that. Directions in West Virginia can be a real fun time. They did at least recently name all of the roads. At one point, they literally just had numbers. They were all County Route 850 or whatever. But now at least you can give people road names. But in a lot of instances, they let people name their own roads. So most of them were reasonable about it. Some of them can be a little interesting. I mean, if you were the only person that lived on the road, why shouldn't you get to name it? So my app here is saying we're about 3 nautical miles from where we're trying to go. W99 here in Grant County. And we should be able to spot it. Oh yeah, there it is. Psh, it's right in front of us there in the snow. Because there's Petersburg, and there's the airport that is way closer to us than I thought. So, hey, let's just kill the engines. And let's just glide on in. We don't need any engines. They've done their job. So have we judged this properly? I think so. I think we're going to make it. I think we got plenty of room. Got plenty of time. Straighten her out. Bring it in nice and slow. Alright, and there we have it. A nice smooth landing here at W99 Grant County in Petersburg, West Virginia. We started off in Kingwood. We came through the Canaan Valley over the Dolly Sods wilderness all the way here to Petersburg, West Virginia. It's such a calm, relaxing flight. Throw about 30 centimeters of snow on the ground, and it's just pure bliss. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We fly around, we check out cool places. We'll be doing more West Virginia, we'll be doing more stadiums, we'll be doing more modern, we'll be doing more of everything because there's just entirely too many things to do in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I can't do them all simultaneously. Thank you for watching.